Okay. Hello. Welcome in. You kind of caught me on a little bit of a sunbreak today. It's kind of surprising. It's been cloudy and gloomy everywhere. Cold and snowy in most parts of this country, the United States. But today, I find myself battling sun rays to try to keep it off the board, which is a little strange this time of year. But I am not complaining. Um, So it is pretty cold outside, but it is at least clear skied. So uh, we find ourselves on the cusp of winter, um, and that always brings with it some amount of preparation because you know you're about to head into the long dark, right? So this is a game perfectly timed for that moment in this annual cycle. This is Creature Comforts by KTBG. Designer is Roberta Taylor, I believe. Roberta Taylor has gone on to design some other games that specifically one that I backed and that I've just been waiting for the right moment to play it. So that might come soon. No spoilers, but I will. I am kind of teasing that because I do really enjoy the way that Roberta thinks about board game design, and I think it'll come through heavily today. But anyway, I hope you're having a great holiday season so far. If you are in this hemisphere, though I assume it doesn't matter which hemisphere you're in, you're probably celebrating Christmas during summer if you're in the southern hemisphere. Which I don't know. I've never experienced that. It's got to be really jarring for both hemispheres to experience the opposite holiday season from what you grew up with. I've always kind of wondered about that, how that must feel. So anyway, idle thoughts when I think about winter and becoming cozy, which is kind of what this game is about, is how do we create all of the nice, warm, cozy things we're going to need in order to stick out this long dark that's coming our way in winter time. And so we start out in spring. Oh, well, I guess I should, before I even launch into the game, yes, there we are. So now we are in the intro and teach section of the game, or of the stream. So now I can really talk about how the game functions. So we start out the game in springtime. And in spring, of course, things are blooming, fruits are fruiting, and we have an abundance of material available to us. And of course, as the seasons change, the plentifulness, if that's even a word, of those materials will change and evolve. So some things will become less plentiful, other things will become more plentiful. And we have to be kind of being flexible about how we choose to operate and what we choose to focus on a given moment in a given season. So we're going to go from spring to summer into fall, and by the end of fall, the game is over, much like now, the end of fall. So when we'll find ourselves in present time, I guess you'll say, when this game concludes. So what are we doing in the game? Well, we are going to be foraging either in the meadow over here or in the woodlands or woods over here. Forest, maybe, that might be what they call it. I'll find out. So we're going to be foraging different types of goods that we will then use to convert them into the coziness, these craftable items that we find down here. And in the process, we might acquire certain items over here along the left edge of the board that might help us get everything done. But it's a push and pull, right? Every resource you spend is a resource in the pursuit of these items is a resource not spent on cozy items that you might need in order to win the game or amass the most points. They earn you points as well, definitely, and they are things to strategically go after. So that's the balance. Do we go after these strategic items that are going to really help us out? Do we go after just mainlining these items as much as we can? There's a blend in this game, and the art of this game, the beauty of this game, is in that balance. So as you can tell, I have played Creature Comforts before. That is a rarity for me on this channel. I don't tend to cover games that I've played before. It has been a minute, so at least I've given you that. I'm still a little rusty, especially in the solo game. But that's okay. That's all right. I think we'll do just fine. In fact, I might even be a bit more coherent because I actually know this game. But let's see. Every player starts out the game with their own little set of meeples. I'm playing this little purple squirrel. And in fact, let me pop in here and we can take a closer look at them. So we have this little purple squirrel here. I have some houses. We'll get into how houses work as I start to play, I think. And we start out with our little meeples, and we have some dice. Don't worry, the randomization is really well managed in terms of mitigation and flexibility. So even though there is dice, it is still a heavily strategic game. I think that will become apparent as we play. We start the game having dealt 3 cards face down. These are the same item cards we have here. We're going to start to be able to build these, craft these. So we start the game with 3 dealt to us. We're going to choose 2. In fact, let's do that now, maybe? Yeah, let's maybe do that now. Yeah, that's first. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at what we got dealt. We got dealt some soup. It's worth 5 victory points at the end of the game, if we can get it done. It is a cooking type. That's why the little pot's up here. We got dealt a board game, and you'll notice there's a little asterisk star here. Asterisk stars are any good, any resource that we want to spend, we can spend to fulfill those. We have to do any 2 plus a coin plus, I believe that's knowledge. I think that's the name of it. I'll pull out the actual list of these resources so we don't get these wrong. Stories, they're called stories. Right, so board game would require 1 story, 1 coin, and 2 of any resource. Soup would require 2, where are they? Grain, 2 grain, 2 mushroom. And then pantry would require 1 wood, 1 grain, 1 mushroom, and 1 fruit. Now, you'll notice that some of these cards have a special ability on the bottom of them. Some don't. That's just a soup, right? But it does match this little symbol. Talk about that. But these two are interesting. So board game's worth 7 at the end of the game, and then it says +1 for each other board game or toy, that you have. So if I were to build this board game, I would want to start prioritizing, if I can, other board games and toy comforts along the way, if I can find them. The randomization comes from what cards come out and when. So we have to be a little careful, but it's not the end of the world. It's just one of those things that helps you to kind of focus in on some objective in the game. And so if you can get these, great, get them when you can. And if you can't, move on to other things, such as the pantry, right? So pantry is worth 5 at the end of the game, but if you build that, it's +2 for each set of resources that you store on this card. We'll talk about storing as we get there. So I could, instead of spending resources, store them. And when I do, I would gain potentially quite a lot of victory points from just stashing stuff in my pantry. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so that is about the long and short of it. The mechanics of the board we'll get to as I go, but you'll be able to get certain resources if you spend some dice in these areas. These are different resources, coin and stone. So coin and stone, by going here, which we need for different things. This is a conversion space. Lets you convert either coin or goods into other goods or coins, so back and forth. This here is a little cottage, and there is going to be a traveler that comes every season. It'll be a different traveler, and that traveler will have its own set of rules, its own set of benefits if you visit and take advantage of that traveler while they're here. So we'll reveal that in the first start of the turn. And This up here is where you place dice to help you track what's been spent and what hasn't been spent on a given round. This is the space where you go up the ladder and can buy one of these items. What else is there? I think that's really about all. So we'll get into the expansion content, both of which are compatible with the solo game, which again, if you know me on this channel, I ding publishers when they produce all this wonderful expansion content and then they fail to provide solo rule integration for it. I mean, obviously, I don't play many games that aren't soloable on this channel, so every game that I'm playing is a 1-2 whatever player, but a lot of times those expansions are like just for the multiplayer game. Very frustrating. So I feel like I've been a little teased at the moment, and sometimes I pay extra to get some of this content during the campaigns only to find out that they didn't include solo rules for them. Very frustrating. This is not one of those times. Both expansions for Creature Comforts that I have, at least, are compatible with the solo game. So what are they? Well, hidden goals. So these two cards up here are objectives that are dealt only to the player. So during a multiplayer game, these are face down, these are in your hand, and only you know about them. So these are targets we can meet throughout the game, and if we do them, then we will earn the victory points at the end of the game. So this one's, for example, Homebody, that says, finish your turn without assigning any of your family dice. Family dice are the dice of your color. These ones are purple from my color. These are the communal white dice. So what's that saying is only use white dice on your turn. And if you do that for one turn, you will finish this objective, this personal objective of Homebody. Feastmaster is worth 4 victory points if we complete it, and it says craft 2 or more food in one turn. So that soup that we were dealt, which I realized I haven't chosen my 2 out of 3. We'll do that in a moment. That would be 1 food, and another food might be down here is the area we can go if we spend some of our dice to grab one of these, and we could instead grab the stew. And if we were able to somehow magically have all the resources to make the soup and the stew in one turn, we would complete the, where are you? I guess we'll go there. We would be able to complete the Feastmaster. We're crafting 2 or more foods in one turn. And here's the thing about the internal private goals. As you complete them, you are able to just continue to draw more. So you don't have to spend an action to do that. It is, I'll find the rule card just to make sure I don't mess that up, but I'm nearly certain that it says at the end of your turn, if you have fewer than 2 dreams, these are called dreams, that's right. At the end of your turn, if you have fewer than 2 dreams in your hand, you may draw a new one. If you have 2, you may discard and draw a replacement. So very flexible. If you've gotten stuck with one and you're never going to get that done and you know it, you can always discard it and draw a new one. And as you complete them, you draw back up. So you will always have access to dreams throughout the game. And at the end of the game, for the solo game, it says, add 1 exclamation point to the end of your title for each dream that you have stashed. So how do we stash dreams? I think that's just what we say when we complete them. Yes. So if at any point you have made one of your dreams come true, reveal it to the other players and stash it under your home board. So as we complete them, we will stash them, and as we stash them, we will have more and more exclamation points at the end of our name, at the end of the game. And the name is really clever. It's actually based on how you performed in various categories, and it's the resulting scores assemble the title that you earn at the end of the game. Very cool. It also means you're going to be different titles every time you play, which is fun. And sometimes you might want to just shoot for different title combinations as an objective, for example. Okay, so that's dreams. Dreams are here. This is the dream deck right there. Now, the other expansion that I have are these cards down here. I'll push in for these so you can see them. So these are a different, what are they called? They are called talents, right? So we now that setup is complete, well, it will be in a moment as soon as I do that. We're going to shuffle and then deal 5 talent cards out on a line. Okay, yeah, so what I think I will do instead is I will shuffle these up, because it doesn't say in solo mode that the setup is any different, but there's no one to draft with. So what I'll do instead is I will draw 2 and pick one. Maybe what I'll do is I'll draw 3, and then I'll allow myself 1 card reversal. I don't know. No, because these are double-sided. So what I'll do is I'll just mix them, and I'll randomly flip fronts and backs, and then I will draw 3, draw 2, and then face up, I will choose between one of those 2. That's probably the best, because that essentially simulates a small, kind of the tail end of the draft, where you've only got 1 or 2 choices left. And I feel like that's good enough for me. So I'll just, underneath the table here, start flipping cards around and shuffling. But before I draw that, I'm going to look at my cards again. And I have soup, board game, and pantry. The trick is, when I look at these are all fairly difficult to achieve because they all require 4 ingredients. The board game's a little easier, but it's very specific, and it only earns you 1 heart for each board game that you have, board game and toy. On the other hand, pantry is nice, but it's fewer points, and it requires me to store resources that I might otherwise want to use. So we do have that Feast Master. So I might stick with the soup, knowing that we want to do that anyway. So I might stick with the soup. And what other one? So, maybe the board game. We'll stick with the board game and the soup, and we'll discard the pantry. Okay. So that we will get rid of. Those are going to be our 2 starting cards that we're going to be trying to build from our hand. We can always get more. And now I have shuffled these cards. I'm drawing the top 2. They have been flipped and rotated and all that goodness. So let's take a look at what we have. We have the option between the gardener and the gourmet. So if we look at that, it says when you successfully visit any meadow location, that's this location on the upper right corner of the board. You can't see it, but I'll show it to you in a minute. Gain a grain or a mushroom or a fruit in addition to what is displayed. Hey, look at that. There's mushroom requirements here on that soup, and that stew that's sitting down there has a 4 mushroom requirement. So I need 6 mushroom and 2 grain to get those both at the same time. So gardener would give us both grain and mushroom options every time we visit the meadow. Not a bad thing. Gourmet says, once per turn, you may claim 1 face-up food from the owl's nest. Oh, that's the same location where I would get the stew. Whether or not you've sent a worker there. Oh. Well. That's handy too. Well, I'm feeling like these are really both very good. The thing with the gardener is that you're not guaranteed to... It gives you some flexibility, right? Because some of these things may not be available on a given season card. Every round is a season. Or not season, it's one of the cards. You basically discard one of the top cards of these. You discard the tops of these at the end of every round. And so as we go, there are going to be more. There's like more spring, fewer summer, and even fewer fall cards. So as we go, the seasons will get shorter, which is, I think what it's really simulating is you can get a lot done in the same amount of time when it's spring and summer. And then fall, there's just less you can do. You just end up with less time available for you in that season. So anyway, what that means though is that the meadow, having this ability to gain a grain, a mushroom, or a fruit, means that you are less beholden to the randomization of what's actively available for you in the meadow on a given round. And you'll have some flexibility there. That's pretty nice. On the other hand, just getting free cards to start working on is not a bad thing. I think I'm going to go with the gardener just because it's all arounder, right? So I think we're going to play that. That seems pretty good to me. So our gardener, I'll just have the gardener card hanging out there. That's who we're going to play. Okay, so our gardener, this gives us a special ability for the rest of the game. If you play this with a multiplayer game, everybody obviously drafts their own special ability. So everybody's got asymmetric player powers during the game. Very cool. I've played both of these multiplayer, and they work very well. It doesn't unbalance the game at all. So there you go. All right. This is our little tray of resources down here at the bottom of the screen. You have fruit, wood, stone, fabric, yarn, grain, mushrooms, stories, coins, and lessons learned. Now, these three down here, stories, coins, and lessons learned, they're not considered to be basic goods. Those are other types of resources. When the game refers to a good of your choice, for example, they're referring to these other ones here, these consumables. Those are the ones that they're talking about. So you can't just be like, I'm just going to start amassing knowledge because the game says I can get a free resource of my choosing. That's not what they mean. Or good of my choosing. Anyway, I think that's it. Let's just perusal the solo rules briefly and make sure that I'm not missing a trick or that I'm not misremembering how the game works. It says, play the game as normal, check your end results. Okay, great. Okay, cool. So that's the other thing I love about the solo rules. No adjustment to the rules at all. Just play the game, which I think is so cool. All right, so let's talk through the first round. First and foremost, every round, we figure out who our new traveler is going to be. So we come over here and we look at this deck and we flip over the top of the traveler who's going to hang out in this cabin. So this time around, we have the pleated woodpecker. And it says, all month long, all improvements are these, and comforts, which are these, the cards in our hand, and here are the owl's nest, cost one less wood than displayed on their cards. So if I were to pick up the hearth, I would only have to spend 3 stone and 1 wood for the rest in order to get that done, because the woodpecker's helping us find wood. That's what that really means. Now, what else can we do when we visit here? Well, this is just the current condition for this month that we're in. But if we visit the woodpecker with one of the dice displayed here, then we can either exchange grain for yarn, or yarn for mushroom, or mushroom for grain. So what I could do, for example, let's say I want to go after this stew that's down here. Remember the stew that's in the owl's nest here requires 4 mushrooms. Well, let's say that on one of my actions, I came over here and I got some yarn from the meadow because I played a 1 or a 2, right? Okay, now I have the yarn. On my next worker, I play over here to go visit the woodpecker and I exchange that yarn for 2 mushrooms. So now it's as if I got 2 mushrooms. And then all I would need to do was come over here and go here and here, potentially, and have, what would that be? 1, 2, it'd be 5 yarn. Or sorry, not 5 yarn, 5 mushroom. I would need 6. So I need some way to get a 6th mushroom. Well, I'm a gardener. So don't forget that because I'm a gardener, whenever I successfully visit the meadow, I can gain a grain, a mushroom, or a fruit. Well, like I mentioned in my example, a 1 or a 2, this location up here on the right is the meadow. So if I were to successfully visit the meadow, I would gain a bonus mushroom. So that would give me 6 mushroom. The only trouble now is I don't have a way to get grain. The only way to get grain right now, because you'll notice these 2 locations do not give me grain. Neither does this location, which is in the forest or the woods. No grain there either. So the only way I can get grain right now is by trading it with the woodpecker. So what I think I'm going to have to do is break this up into 2 rounds. And I might have to get the mushrooms first, possibly, and then the second round get a few more mushrooms and come here and exchange them for grain, or at least one more mushroom and exchange it for grain. So I don't think I could do it, no matter what. I don't think I can do both the stew and the soup in one round. Because there's just no way to get grain. And once you're visited one of these locations, you can't visit it again. So you can't just double up or triple up. Okay, well, that's an interesting idea. So I think we might just try that. I mean, why not? Let's just go. The reason why I'm doing that, any of that, by the way, is because of this Feast Master for 4 victory points. I might as well. The soup is worth 5 and the stew is worth 5. So right there, I have 10 victory points plus 4, so 14 victory points just from doing that. And not for nothing, if I do make this stew, if I also have bread at the end of the game, then it'll be worth 2 additional victory points. So it'll actually be worth 7. All right, so let's just go ahead and get into it. Let's start playing this thing. So first thing we did is we revealed our new traveler, and that's what I was talking about before with how the woodpecker worked. Now we do family dice. All players roll their own 2 dice and place them on my slots. It don't matter right now because we're playing multiplayer, but I'll do it anyway. I'll go through the motions. So I will roll these, and I got a 6 and a 5. So I put those on my player board up here in their little dice slots. And now we know we have a 6 and a 5. I'll cheat them in a little bit so you can see them. Okay, cool. So there we go, 6 and a 5, family dice. Now, in the multiplayer game, you, at this point, will place your family dice. Oh, no, you won't. You place your workers. That's right. And this is a 1 at a time. All players do this at the same time. Oh, no, okay, that's right. It's simultaneous. Not that it matters in the solo game, but I like to kind of cover it when I can. So this step of placing workers, we now have some amount of information. We know we're going to have at least a 6 and a 5 available to us. We don't yet know what these white dice are going to be. We haven't rolled them yet. So we have some information, but it's not perfect. I'm going to wager, this is a guess, that I'm going to get at least a 1. Oh, I need a 1 and a 2, I think. Is that right? Let me just make sure I get that correct before I decide how I'm going to wager this. Player turns. Yeah, I have to fulfill both. So coming here and coming up here and getting yarn in this round is not likely. I don't want to bank on the fact that I will get both a 1 and a 2 when I didn't roll either of those on my family dice. So instead, what I think I might do is focus on total 11 or higher. I could go get wood, but I don't really need it. I guess I could build the hearth. There's no reason not to build the hearth. What I mean by that is down here in the hearth at the Owl's Nest, it's the only card out right now that requires wood of any kind. And it says for each set of 2 wood stored here at the end of the game, gain 2 victory points. So I could just get this and start mass piling wood onto my hearth. It's early game, so I can do whatever I want. I do what I want. Well, maybe we switch tack. I mean, it would be nice to get that feast done. But we don't really know what we're going to get. So let's hedge our bets a little. Let's look at this. We can do exchanges too. There's always exchanges. That's also true. 2 stories and a coin. That's pretty tempting. What does stories let you do? Are they requirements for anything? Yeah, they are. So we haven't talked a whole lot about improvements. I'll cover a couple of what they look like. If we look at our improvements available to us right now, these are about half the improvements. So the other half are on a different button I can show you. I just pulled them in this tight so you can actually read them. So we have pattern book, almanac, and umbrella. These let you break the rules, but only you, once you have them in your possession. On each turn, you may add 1 or 2 to one of your family dice. Doesn't say subtract, it just says add. Still pretty good. This one says, the almanac says, gain 1 almanac token, treat it as a permanent lesson learned, which you may use once per month, so once per round. There are 8 rounds, by the way, in the long game, which is what we play when we play solo. By the way, not for nothing, that is on the 5 space, and one of my 2 family dice is a 5. The trick is I need to have everything in hand to buy this. And it requires 2 coins and a stone and a wood. So I think I want this, but I don't think I can go after it right away. And then finally, it says here on the pattern book, you may store 1 story on each of your clothing comforts. Wow. The story adds 4 points for the comforts score. Wow, so it's a buff. You can just put stories on your clothes and it buffs them by 4 points apiece if you have the pattern book. That's reasonably attainable, actually, both in the meadow, as a matter of fact. So maybe we try 2 clothing, huh? Well, okay, something to think about. Maybe we go after, just for funsies, maybe we try going after that and going after that. It's the meadow. We might lose our shirt on this one. We only have 4 dice coming to the party. So I'm basically betting that I'm going to get a 4 and a 1 and a 2. That's a lot of betting. Let me see. I might change my mind on that, but we'll see. We probably want to come down here and get a card to the Owl's Nest. And what else do we want to do? I don't think we want to climb the ladder. Now here's the deal. If I leave, if we don't get through this month without visiting the woodpecker, he's going to fly away and some other new visitor is going to come. That could be good, that could be bad, but it's true. So let's come down here and we'll see if we can't get some exchanging done. Now, when we do a visitor, do I have to have both dice or is it 1 dice? I think it's just 1 die. It is. So does that mean that these are also just 1 die? Hold on. Let me find out. What happened there? Just checking, hold on. Lessons learned, by the way, lets you bump the value of dice by 1. Lessons learned are earned when you fail to visit a location, if memory serves. I'll confirm that as we play. Okay, hold on. Yeah, Rabbit has a worker in the river but doesn't have a 4 or 5 to assign there. She realizes that she could move the 4 from the forest to the river and take back the lesson learned. But then there would be no way to satisfy the forest requirements. After thinking about it for a moment, she decides that she wants a successful forest visit more. She leaves things as they are. Yeah, okay. It is possible that you will be unable to resolve one or more workers because of how the dice turned out. You may also choose not to resolve any workers if you wish. Once you are finished resolving all workers that you are willing and able to do so, bring any unresolved workers home and take one lesson learned for each one of those workers. Yeah, okay, got it. Sorry, I'm just making sure, because this is the one thing I always forget about, and I just want to make sure I'm not getting it wrong. Okay. The inn. Each month, a different random traveler. When the benefits display a green arrow multiplier on it. Yeah. That's odd. So when you're at the inn, the dice values at the section here, in each section, are or. A 1 or a 2, a 3 or a 4, a 5 or a 6. But when you visit the meadow or the forest, it says, oh, 2 dice, a 3 and a 4. Yeah, when they're horizontal like this, when they're vertical, they're or, apparently. But when they're horizontal like this, they are both. So you need, it's basically like a plus sign. So I would need to have both a 1 and a 2. Okay, all right, that's a good reminder. So what that means is I have flexibility. I could spend a 1 or a 2, or a 3 or a 4, or a 5 or a 6 to visit the woodpecker. Only 1 die there. I'm pretty comfortable with this. We're going to take our shots in the meadow, see what we get. This is some flexibility option, just depending on what we end up with. And then down here, if I spend, the way the owl's nest works is if I spend 1 die, a 3, a 4, a 5, or a 6, then I only get 1 card. If I spend, is that right? No, I take that back. This is 1 die of one of those. Or if it's a 1 or a 2, then I get 2 cards. So if I spend a 1 or a 2 down here, I get 2 cards from the offer. And if I spend a 3 through a 6, I only get 1. Huh. And what does that location do for me? Owl's Nest. Location 1, assign 1 die of any value, then take 1 visible card. Location 2, assign 1 die, then draw 1 or 2 blindly from the deck. Oh, okay. So, this choice here they're top decking the deck. If I come here, I want 1 from the offer. So what's nice is, if I just want 1 of the ones that are from the offer, I can put any die value I want here. And then grab whatever card I want. So that's pretty handy. Okay. Okie dokie. All right. So that's what we're doing. We want to pull from the face-up cards. This is also super flexible for us. Okay. I think we've made our decisions. We're going to go to the owl's nest. We're going to visit the woodpecker, and we're going to play around in the meadow a little bit, grabbing some material. All right. So we've done our placement. Village dice. Once all players have finished placing their workers, we roll the village dice. We might have gotten real lucky here, folks. Okay, so I don't really have a good view of the dice. It doesn't really matter for this case. I think what I'll do is just come in. So this is our available dice for this round. I've got my 2 family dice, and then I've got the, what are they called? Village dice. The whites are the village dice. These are what we can spend to allocate for our turn this round. So what are we going to do? Well, we need a 4 to make this work. So this one says I need 1 die, then +1/+1. So that what that means is if I were to pick this as a 4, then I would need a 5 and a 6. That's what I've done, right? So that's one way to solve that. Then if I wanted to, I could spend the other 2 dice, 1 and 2. Still feels a little weird that that's not an or, but it is what it is. I could be playing this more incorrectly than not, but I don't think that's how it works. It is really just both of them. Yeah. Just making sure. Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking, by the way, just for the sake of showing it to you, here's the rule book on the subject. And it gives you a legend of what each of the dice displays are and how to translate them. So very cool, very easy to read. So that tells me unequivocally that this is correct. I need both dice. So this is one way that I could do that. That leaves me a 6. So I could, with my remaining 6, I could come here and trade one of the mushrooms, or actually no, I could trade the yarn that I'm about to pick up for 2 mushrooms. That's an option. Or I could do that. Or I could come down here and use that 6 to draw one of those cards. The other option is that I could avoid that. I could avoid spending all the dice up here and instead do other things. But I don't think I have the resources in my hand right now. So that's why I'm really focusing on resource gain at the moment. What are we building? What are we building? We're not. We're just gathering stuff. Okay, I think I have a plan. All right, we're just going to resolve it as I've done it right here, because I think this is going to work just fine. So the first thing, we get to choose what order we do this stuff in. It doesn't really matter. So again, more flexibility. So here, we're going to resolve this first. We're going to pull our worker back and those 2 dice. Those 2 dice are now done. And we're going to get an apple and a yarn. So we just grab an apple and a yarn and we stick them on our player board. But our gardener says when you successfully visit a meadow location, you gain a grain, a mushroom, or an apple. So I want a mushroom. So I am going to take my spare mushroom for being a gardener, and we're going to stick that on our board. So now on our board, we have the apple and the yarn for the visit, and then our spare bonus mushroom for being a gardener. Now we're going to resolve this one, and it's 2 stories and a coin. So 2 stories and a coin, no problem. Those also go over there. Now, again, it's a meadow location, so my gardener happens once more. What do I want it to be now? It is a grain or... Yeah. You know, I'm thinking we're going to do mushroom again. Yeah, we're going to do mushroom again. Okay. So that was our bonus action for uh, for being a gardener in the meadow at that location. So now we have one more action left before we we have 2 actions actually. We have 2 actions. But I screwed up and didn't assign any dice to it. So that's fine. It is what it is. We only have 1 dice left. I'll talk about that at the end of my turn. Let's resolve this last one, which is correct. Any die can go here, and I can get any one of the face-up cards. So that's an easy one. And I will take the... You know, I think I'm going to take the... I could build the lamp. The lamp is fairly inexpensive. It requires a bunch of stuff, but I have 2 of those stuffs right now. I just need a coal. Or a stone, rather. And I have 2 stories. So that would... 2 stories, it says add 7 points if you store exactly 2 stories here. This is actually a nice way to go. I think I'm going to take the lamp. I wasn't going to, but hey, you know, take it while you can get it. Okay, so that doesn't mean we have it built. It just means we can build it. It's in our hand now. Okay, now let's resolve this unresolved worker. So what I should have done is put dice here so that I could use these actions. I forgot to do it. I just flat out forgot to do it. So this comes back, and instead of getting something, I get a lesson learned. Lesson learned looks like this. They look like this. They're little band-aids. They're little boo-boos. You tripped and fell. You didn't get your stuff done. But on one side is a little plus symbol, and on another side is a negative symbol. So that means I can later spend this to adjust the die value. One die, either up 1 or down 1, using the minus or plus side of my lesson learned. So it's not a complete loss. I got a lesson learned. So that's pretty good. Okay, now we've taken all of our actions. We've resolved all of our dice. The only thing left to do, we've done all of that. And yeah, okay. Right, is that it? Just want to make sure. If you have more than 3 comfort cards in your hand at the end of the turn, you must discard comfort cards. Okay, so a 3 card hand limit. Now, here's what we do at the end of every round. We can craft the things that we have in our hand. In my case, I technically have enough to build the board game. If I wanted to, I could spend one of my 2 stories, my coin, and because it says any 2 resources of my choosing, I could say use an apple and a mushroom. And that would complete this board game. And it's worth 7 victory points, possibly 8 or more if I add more things. So that's not a bad thing. But what it does do is it takes my coin away from me at the lamp to pay for the lamp. And it also takes one of my 2 stories away. So I think I'm not going to build. I'm instead going to see what happens next round, and we're going to go from there. And I don't have to. It keeps saying I may craft. So I don't have to craft. I can if I want to. So I'm not going to. I'm going to hold on to my cards for the moment. We're going to amass some resources, and we're going to see what the next round looks like. Okay, so now we move into upkeep at the end of the round. This is the first round we're playing, though, so I'm taking it a little bit slow. But after this, we'll kick into gear. So some travelers have a power that activates at the end of the month. That is not the case for the current traveler. Just an all-month-long critter. Discard the top forest and meadow cards. So that means this card comes off, and this card comes off, revealing brand new worker placement spots for the next round. And these are shuffled. There's not very many cards in each of the seasons, so it's not a ton of randomization, but the order is randomized per season, every game. So you don't really know which order you're going to end up getting these cards. So, okay, we have done that. Yeah, okay. Rotate the river dial 1 notch clockwise. River dial. You can't really see it. It doesn't really matter. I will come in here so you can, oh, you can see it. I have that one. Okay, here's the river dial. We didn't use it this round. So now this dial will rotate 1 stop clockwise. And all that means is that the die values required to go to these locations will change at the end of every month in a predictable fashion. Discard the leftmost comfort from the owl's nest. Leftmost. Well, I took that. But that's okay. I think, when you take from the owl, do you immediately fill it back up again? Let me check. Yeah. I don't think so. Oh, you do. You do. Okay. So the card that comes out here is going to immediately get discarded. So here it is. The pie came out, and because it's the leftmost card, it's immediately gone. Oh well. These slide down. And then it says, and then deal one up in the rightmost slot. Okay. So the snowshoes come out. Okay, cool. And then the last thing we do is we look at the bottom of the ladder. These, by the way, are the 3 other cards in the ladder: bicycle, field, and recipe book. The recipe book is the lowest on the ladder, so it gets discarded. And then all of them slide down, and we refill from the top of the ladder. So then we draw a card from the deck. And in the solo game, there are no duplicate cards. All duplicate cards in the deck are removed, so you only have 1 shot at every single improvement. And there are some improvements that are fully removed entirely in the solo game. Blissfully, it's not that many. I think it's like 4 of the different improvement types, maybe 5, I could be wrong. And there's a fair number of them, so it's really fine. And it really just makes the game tighter by removing the ones that they removed, which is okay. They're more necessary, I'd say, in the multiplayer game. So what came out? The tool shed came out. And the tool shed is worth 2 victory points if we build it. Only takes 2 wood, but when resolving a worker in the workshop, treat your placed dice value as if it were 6. Interesting. In the workshop. Which one's the workshop? Workshop? Is workshop one of the cards you can unlock? Probably. Oh no, it's the ladder. Oh, got it. Interesting. So it basically lets you take the topmost card on the ladder with any die. So that's why it's cheap. It's really just there to help you be more flexible. Okay, done. Now the last thing we do is discard the traveler from the inn. Gone. And then early bird passes, it doesn't matter because that's early bird's just the current first player for the round, which is always me. And then we reveal the new traveler and we'll go again. Okay, so who do we get? We got the hairy-tailed mole. Hairy-tailed mole. That's funny. Hairy-tailed mole. Sorry. All month long, stone and coin may be used as each other for any purpose. So they're interchangeable. Interesting. Yeah. So the special abilities are stone and any die value. You can get whatever you want. 1 of anything. 2 stone, you can get a story. And you could do that up to 3 times in 1 action. So if I had like 6 stone on hand, I could visit here, spend a 4, and exchange 6 stone for 3 stories. Pretty powerful. Still no grain up in the woods or the meadow, which is not surprising. It is spring. We still have the ability to get yarn and coins, but I would need a total of 7 or higher using 2 dice of any value. Okay, doable, I think. 2 fruit. I need some stone. We know we need some stone anyway because we need that to build the lamp. So let's roll our family dice. We got a 5 and a 6 again. Great. We're going to pull off the village dice for the moment, and we're going to decide where we're going to go. Well, we have a lesson learned. So if nothing else, we can go get a coin and a stone if we go there. Or we could, because 5 or 6 are both here, we could get 2 stone. Not a bad thing. We already have 1 coin. And they can be used interchangeably. That's pretty handy. So let's get 2 stone instead. What are we going to lose on the ladder if we don't get it this turn? Well, we could unlock a special worker placement space. Which when we go here with any die, we would get 2 grain. It's got a little symbol on it though, and I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Oh, each glade spot has a spot similar to a location, but it's shaped differently. It has symbols on the top to remind you that no workers may be placed there, and that only family dice may be assigned. Oh. What do you mean that no workers can be placed there? Workers may not be sent to the glades during placement. Glades. Certain improvements where they are built become glades above the game board. Workers may not be sent to the glades during placement, but players may assign available family dice to glades on their turn without needing to have sent a worker. Oh, that's cool. So, without having to spend a worker, if I build that field, I can get grain, 2 grain, whenever I want, but I must spend family dice only. So that's the limitation. But that could be super handy. Do I want a worker placement spot for the rest of the game? I think I kind of do. I need wood to pull that off though. So 3 or under. That's pretty good. Total 5 or under. Okay, all right. So what I'm looking at is not there, is there. So what I'm looking at is over here, total 5 or under. That's going to be tricky to do. But I'm hedging that I might be able to get 2 dice of total 5 or lower in that spot. We'll see. But if I do, I'll get 2 wood and 2 mushrooms. So that's pretty powerful. And then, of course, we need to go to the workshop, right? Because we want this field. So we're going to put a worker there. Now, here's what I'm saying. It's got to be a 1 or higher to get the field. Easy, any die, right? So that's fine. I have 1 worker left. I could convert, but I don't think I'm going to. I could... What do I want to do? Well, if I go here, let's say I went here, which is total 7 or higher with 2 dice of any value to get a coin and a yarn. Let's say I went there. What I'm saying is I'm going to spend 4 dice up there, 5 dice, 6 dice. Well, I have exactly 6 dice. And that's only if everything works out according to plan. And then if it doesn't, I'm not going to get one of my actions and I'll get yet another lesson learned. However, the lesson learned will help me get my stuff done. So I have 1. let's go with that. Let's hedge our bets. Let's see what happens. Aha. This might work out all right for us. We'll see. So we'll pull all the dice together. And we will come over here. We'll pull in like that. Okay, so those are our dice. 1, 1, 3, 6, 6, 5 for the game. Now, for the round rather. So what we can do, total 7 or higher, right? We could pull this 5 and stick it over here for the moment. 7 or higher, we could do a 6 and a 3. 5 or lower, we could do the 2 1s. And then the 6 can come down here because it is 1 or higher, and I'm buying the fields, and so who cares? So what that does is I needed a 5 or 6 to get 2 stone. So let's just resolve that. 5 or 6 to get 2 stone, we get 2 stone. Okay, and now we need 7 or higher with 2 dice with any value. We will resolve that, and we will get a coin and a yarn. And because I visited the meadow, I get a free resource, a free food resource. So I will get another mushroom. Yeah. And will I? Will I? Yeah, I'll leave it like that. And then up here is not a meadow location, is a forest location, so I don't get extra stuff. But it's total of 5 or lower with 2 dice. I have 2 1s. And so I get 2 wood and 2 mushroom. Now, if I remember correctly, we have a limit of number of goods I can keep, but I don't remember, so I'll double check that. Got a whole mess of stuff going on over here to play with. And then finally, we get to go to the workshop with our 6. Well, because this is a 1 and it's a 1 or higher, I get to buy this field, which we expected to. In order to buy the field, I need 2 stone and a wood. Well, I just got my 2 stone and a wood, so I will discard them. And I will get the field. Now, I'm going to move this dream deck out of the way because I don't really need it on camera like I do need this field that we just bought. So I'll scooch it down. There we go. So now the field is over here. In fact, I'll just tuck it. It's fine. As a reminder that that is a spot we can spend dice on. And that takes care of that. So all of our actions are done. And let's see. Okay. How do we want to play this? We're going to double check real quick that we don't have too many resources or anything else. Upkeep. That's enough, please. Cute. Dog is going crazy because of something. Okay, I don't think there is anything that says I can't have. There is a hand limit, but there isn't a limit of resources. No. Nope. Okay. Cool. All right. So with that in mind, we can, if we want to, craft. Well, I just spent my 2 stone, didn't I, on my field, but I still think it was worth it. I can use coins and stone interchangeably this round because of the mole. It says all month long stone and coin may be used interchangeably for any purpose. So I have 2 coins and I'm going to spend both of them and a yarn to make this lamp. And it says +7 if you store exactly 2 stories here. So I'm going to discard these 2 coins and this yarn, and the lamp becomes built. I'll put that down below the gardener for now. Now, so now we have our lamp that's built down here. Storing stuff is interesting. How do we store? Do we just store whenever we want? I think so. By the way, I always talk about good references. On the back of this rule book is an excellent reference for this game. So I want to give it credit. It's a great little reference. Yeah, I did that. I think I can just store whenever I want. This is one answer that is not very clear. I seem to remember I looked up the answer to this at some point and found the answer. Once you store something, you can't just unstore it. I think it's there for the rest of the game. So that's the only thing to understand is once I commit these stories to the lamp, they're gone. I can't just bank them and then pull them out again. That's how I'm going to play it. If anybody remembers the rules differently or knows where to find that rule, I'm all ears. But I'm going to play it like I'm going to dedicate these 2 stories to this lamp. They are now gone, but this lamp is now considered to be 7 extra points. So that's an 11-point card. Bye-bye stories. Okay, now, at the end of the round, we do upkeep. So what that does is since that is empty, we just slide down because improvements are not refilled until the end of the round. This is burnt, burnt. And then this slides over. And then we have our new villager that's going to come out in a moment. And we discard the season cards. Okay, new season cards. In the meadow, we have a spot to get 2 yarn, a spot to get stories. And over here in the woods, we have a spot to get 2 mushrooms and a spot to get 2 wood and a fruit. Pretty straightforward requirements this year, or this month, rather. Oh, right. When you unlock a glade, do I put my house on it? I think I do. Let's double check. Yes, you do. All right, here's why that matters. Let's look at our player board for a moment. So every glade you build, you claim it with one of your houses. This is to tell people whose upgrade this was, who actually got this done. And the reason why that matters is from the bottom up, you take one of your houses off your player board and you put it on the glade you just built. So in this case, I put it on the field. And what that did is it unlocked me a 1 victory point buff. So this number goes up for a while in this chart. So the more glades I unlock, the more bonus victory points I will earn for being the one that unlocked those glades. So now if we look at the field again, can you see that? You can kind of see it. Oh, I guess you can't. Here, I'll do this instead. So there's our glade, there's our house, and that just marks that it's ours. But in so doing, I've earned 1 point buff for doing that. Okay, now I think we're reset. Got everything going? Great, moving on. For this round, we're going to be visited by the black bear. The black bear says, all month long, all 4 valley locations provide apples in addition to provide 1 apple in addition to what they show. Place apple from the supply in each location as a reminder. Okay, no problem. I will do that. All right. So, apple, 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 apple. All 4 valley locations. Valet. Okay, I'll move these cards down slightly so you can see them. There you go. There's all the goodies up on top there. Well, that's handy. And then what else can we do with the black bear? Well, if I spend a 1, 2, or a 3, I can exchange an apple and the die of any choosing for any resource I've been choosing. I can just gain a story if I spend a 4 or a 5. Or I can exchange up to 3 apples for up to 3 coins if I spend a 6. That's super valuable. I have 1 apple in my inventory right now. So I think we're going to go here and see if we can't rack up some coins. Yeah. Okay, so we're definitely going to do that. But before we haven't even rolled. It doesn't really matter though, because all 3 of those locations are really good. Okay, we've got a 6 and a 3 for this round. So like I said, we're going to go once over here to visit the black bear. Oh, we didn't rotate the wheel, so we'll rotate the wheel. What am I building now? Well, the hearth is about to disappear. I don't know that I care, though. I haven't seen any more board games or toys come out yet, so I'm kind of glad I didn't prioritize building the board game. I do need 2 wheat, and I don't have any wheat. I could exchange, but I don't need to. Getting more yarn would be good. I can build more of these. Ooh, I want that. Okay, well, since I want that, we're going to try to get some wood. I have 1 wood. That's good. We're going to try this. 5 and a 6, though. That's rough. I want that bicycle if I can do it. Since we're going to try to get some coins, let's try... Do I need 1 stone? I only need 1 stone. 1, 2, or a 6. I'm looking at the wheel right now. And I'm deciding whether I want to just play it safe and get 1 stone, or do I want to gamble a little bit and get 2 stone. I don't know. Let's make that decision in a minute. I'm going to defer that. And then my last worker, we're going to go after this bicycle here. So I can put any die I want to go after the bicycle before it disappears. I'll talk about the bicycle in a minute. I'll talk about it now. Bicycle is really cool. So it costs 2 wood and a stone in order to build it. And it says at the start of your turn, you may move one of your workers to a different location. So what that means is after we roll the village dice, I can adjust my strategy by moving 1 worker. So will I exchange for coins, or instead, oh no, that's not true. I can always put a die on the field as long as it's one of mine. Okay. Well, if that's the case, let's go for 1 stone on there. We're going to play it safe because we need 1 stone for the bike. And I want flexibility here. I have a lot to do and not a lot of time to do it in. We'll see what happens. Okay. Okay. I got a 5, a 3, a 2, and a 1. Forgot how good this game is. It's so good. Okay. So, how are we going to do this? Well, we got a 5 and a 6, so that's an option to get our stuff done up there. I got a 1, so I can go there and get my stone. I didn't get my 6, so I couldn't come here and get a bunch of coin, which is unfortunate. Pull the 2 and put it down here. So what do I want to do about that? Now, one school of thought is that I can put the 3 here and spend my lesson learned to bump it to a 4. So it looks like that. So I've got this 3, which I've bumped to a 4 by putting on the little plus sign on top of it. And what that would do is that would let me come here and get a story. I think I like that. Now, that leaves me with 1 die, right? Because I have 1 die. It's my family die. So I can assign that, any value, onto the field. It has to be a family die, but I'd get 2 grain. I like it. I like it. That's what we're going to do. All right. So we need wood. So we're going to resolve this. We're going to get 2 apples. We're going to take the 1 that's on the card, 1 from the inventory, and 2 wood. Great. Thank you. And then we're going to get 1 stone. And then, yeah, we can just resolve this. We'll resolve the black bear. And we're going to get 1 knowledge. We talked about that. And then down here, we're going to visit the workshop. And we're going to spend our 1 die here to get the bicycle, which requires 2 wood and a stone, which we just got. So we are going to discard our 2 wood and 1 stone. We have now built the bicycle for 2 points, but we built that for flexibility. So we now have our bike over here, which lets us have some flexibility for the rest of the game. It's early, so it made sense to do that. Plus, in the solo game, without a lot going on, it just feels like, even in the multiplayer game, it is really handy to have that bike. So there's that. Okay, we did not build the hearth. Oh, wait, nope, take that back. I have 1 more die to resolve, and that's my family die up here on the field for 2 wheat, 2 grain rather. Okay, next thing we do is I can craft if I want to. I can craft if I want to, craft if I want to. And that's what I want to do. I'm going to spend my 2 grain that I just got and 2 of my mushrooms, and we're going to make that soup. The soup comes out. Do I want to do that? I think I do. That's fine. We'll make the soup. It's 5 victory points. It's done. Board game is the only card left. We're going to need to get some cards here soon. But that's okay. Not a bad thing. Yeah. Okay, so as you can see, we've got some resources still. What else are we doing? I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so now we move into upkeep. So all of these slide down. comes out. Weather Vane. Okay, so Weather Vane just came out. Let's take a look. It costs 3, and once each turn you may raise or lower one village die by 1. The die keeps its newest value for the rest of the month. Wow. So that's good in a multiplayer game because it was sort of interesting. It's interesting in a multiplayer game because it means that you're changing the value for all players, not just you, for the rest of the month. But in my case, it's just a regular old lesson learned once a month, essentially. Okay. We are going to lose the umbrella at the end of this turn if we don't buy it. I don't know that I care. Once each turn, you may add 1 or 2 to one of your family dice. I'm going to let that go. I think I've done enough improvement for the moment. I need to get some more cards, and I need a better strategy for, you know, bulking up on points if I can. The hearth is gone because we didn't build it. Those slide down. Oh, toys. Toys are interesting because that synergizes well with my board game that's in my hand. They're 6 points on their own, and they're cheap to make for the most part. I only need stone this round to get that built. So let's go after that card. But first things first, let's discard the previous season, or not season, month. So now we have a new set of cards. This should be the last. This should be the last spring. Yeah, you can see that too because the cards that are coming off have the spring symbol in the middle, and now we have a summer symbol in the middle. So that tells us that we're moving to a different season. Let me just double check that moving to a different season doesn't mean anything. I don't think it does. I think it just moves on. Upkeep. No, it doesn't. Yep, okay. We've just moved in. All right, last thing we do is we update, we turn this wheel one more step, and we discard the bear. Okay. And we are ready to roll. Yeah, let's see who we got. We got the Common Raven. Immediately, in turn order, each player places $1 or 1 coin from their supply in a different location, or from the supply in a different location. This month, those locations provide money in addition to what they show. So, because it's one player game, I just get to choose which one I want to produce money for the rest of the game, or for the rest of the round. Okay, well, let's take a look. We haven't even looked around, so let's first do that. These are our meadow locations for this first month of summer. There's our yarn and knowledge generation again. Looking around, there's not much that requires yarn, although there is a lot of clothing that requires yarn. I don't know that I care. I don't know that I'm going to burn 3 dice to go there. Or a food and, a grain and a fruit. Okay, but they have to be equal dice. Over here is 4 or higher, gets a wood. Boring, but okay. And then all even dice, but you get a coin, 2 fruit, and a wood. I already have 3 fruit, and I don't care to get more. I have wood. So I have the wood that I need to make the toys. I have the story I need to make the toy. I just need the stone. So I'm almost thinking that we do other things. Do we not worry about it? To a different location. Now that's funny. So here's what I'm looking at. Over here in this spot, is our little goods exchange section. I could put my little coin buff that the Common Raven is giving me here. So when I put my die value there, I would immediately get a coin, which would then let me convert that coin into whatever I want. I could do that. Or I could just, instead, I could put the coin on the visitor himself and then immediately use that coin to do one of those benefits, which is one would be gain a knowledge. I can do that up to twice if I put a 1 or a 2 there. Or gain a card and a lesson learned. It's a top deck. I'd have to top deck the deck, but like, so. I think I'm first and foremost, that's a pretty good move, actually. If we know we're going to go there. Are we going to go there? It's a pretty good move. 50% chance I can find something worth doing. I just saw the 4, 5, or 6 there that lets me convert grain, which I can get from my field, into coins. Yeah, I feel like it's too lucrative not to do this. I'm going to put my coin on that location when that basically says I'm going to get a coin for going there on top of whatever I bring there on that turn. So we know we're going to do that. We haven't even rolled our dice yet. 5 and a 3. Okay. What do we want to do next? I think, don't forget, we're trying to build the toys, so I need stone. I could give myself flexibility. Does it let me convert into stone? I don't think it does. Let me check the conversion spot. Can I convert into stone if I go there? Any good? I don't believe those are goods. I don't think stone are goods. Oh, no, they are. They are goods. No, stone are goods. Okay. Well. I'm debating. So what I'm debating right now is, do I put a guy here to go convert? But if I do that, I have to get a coin and convert for a 1-to-1, or I have to spend 2 goods of any kind to convert. And I'd rather not. I'd like to hoard my stuff if I can. So instead, I could take a 50-50 shot and go after 1 stone for my toys. Seems better. On the other hand, I could spend the coin I get in order to buy the stone if I need to, but I'm not going to. I need to get cards, and I don't care about top decking or not. I could do both. I could top deck 1 card for 1 die, a die of any value, to get the toys. Now, how many die am I committing here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the wheat, because it'd be silly not to, if we can do it. That leaves me with 1 spare die. I don't have another worker. That's not bad though. I can use that for flexibility. Plus, we have our bicycle to move workers around if we have to. So, move a worker around. I don't see anything about reclaiming stories off the lamp. Looks like you played it right. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Sorry, I don't know how long ago you said that, but I appreciate you. All right. So, I think we're going to go with this. We're not going to get any stuff out of the meadow or the woods this round at all. And we're going to see if we can get homebody done. I don't know yet. We'll see how the dice roll. Promising. Okay, so let's gather those up. 1, 2, 3, and 5. If we can do this without using my family dice, let's try it. We can get a 1 here, a 2 maybe here, a 3 or a 5. Ooh, we're going to top deck another card? I don't think so. What if instead I use this 1, pull the 5 over there, use the 1 here to go after a story, and then the 3 I put down here. If I do that, as a reminder, I have homebody as one of my personal goals, and I would not have to use my family dice this round at all. I would get the toys card. I would be able to top deck 2 more cards. And I would be able to use the 1 die to get at least 1 story. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. We're going to get 5 extra victory points this round. We're not going to use the family cards at all this round. Okay, so first and foremost, let's get our 1 stone for spending that 5. Okay. And then we need to do what? I think, yeah, let's just resolve the Raven right now. So we'll spend our 1 die with our worker there. I'll get a free coin for going here because of the top of the round Raven benefit. Now you spend that coin immediately to get 1 story for that 1 die. And then down here, I will spend thus 3 die and a worker to pick up the toys. That goes into my hand to be built, which I will do shortly before the end of the round. And then here, I'm spending a 2, which lets me top deck 2 cards. And what did we get? Now, I'm going to be over my hand limit, but I won't be by the end of the round. So, we got a pie and a rocking chair. Ooh, interesting. The quilt is out. I could go after the quilt, which would make that extra points, and it's not hard to make. I have everything but a coin for that, in fact. So that could be good. I have apples. I have a way to make grains, so that pie is going to be fairly easy. We're about to build that toy. Life is looking good. And now we have the synergy for the board game, too. Delightful. Okay. I like it. Now, first things first, we got done with our actions, but we did complete homebody. So homebody is 5 points at the end of the game. We'll go ahead and stash that under our board as instructed. It is tucked away. We do have a Feast Master, but now we'll draw a new one. We'll see what we get. We got Daydreamer. Daydreamer says, 3 victory points at the end of the game if I have 5 or more lessons learned tokens at once. I'm likely never going to amass that many. I don't want to amass that many. So next round, I'll probably discard that one. We'll see. Okay. Right, I need to build. I need to construct things. So we're going to, like as promised, we're going to build this toys. Okay. So to build toys, it requires, we'll come here. Yeah. So we're going to build toys. To build toys, it requires a wood, 1 stone, and a knowledge. Right there. Okay. Toys are built. We still haven't built the board game, but now I have incentive to do it. So no problem there. And we are now at our hand limit of 3, which is legal. Great. What else? Did I do anything else? No, I don't think so. I think that's it. We go into upkeep. That was great. Okay, umbrella comes off. Bye-bye, umbrella. Everything comes down. And an orchard is revealed. Orchard says it is 2 victory points, and now I can do the same exact thing, except now I could go here and get apples instead. Not a bad thing, and I have a little time in order to build that. So we know that's in the running. If we do not build the almanac by the end of this round, it will disappear. Permanent lesson learned, but it's expensive to build, and it's only worth 3 victory points. I think I'm going to maybe let that go. It would be nice to have, but too expensive. Our crow friend flies away. The wheel turns once. The socks go away because nobody built them. Shifting down. And the bookshelf. Yeah. Oh, and now the seasons. All right. Second month of summer. New locations, meadow. Let's see, total 10 or higher. Or all even. Look at all that wheat. I can get wheat a lot cheaper from my field, so I don't know that I care about that one. I have apples right now. I have 1 yarn, so that's good enough for the moment. So if we look instead over at there, we get, just for a 3, we get 2 wood, and that's not bad. Or a wood and a coin. Come here. Come here. Come on. Good girl. Thank you. Stop. Sorry, folks. My dog has gotten into something outside and is deciding now is the time to rid her body of it, unfortunately. Hopefully she holds on to it, but if not, I'd rather her make a mess somewhere that's easier to clean. I don't think I'm going to have luck with that, but we can try. Gotta love having dogs sometimes. Anyway, where was I? Right. We were looking at those 2 locations. Both of those are pretty good. I like the idea of trying for 2 wood. If not, we can always get a lesson learned token. That's fine. So that's an option. Let's roll our dice though and see if we want to confirm our decision. 6 and a 4. No help there. We might move that. I don't know. We might move that, but we have the bicycle, so we can always move that if we need to. Our new traveler for the month is a blue jay. Both dogs are acting funny. Blue Jay says, end of the month, so this won't happen until the end of the month. Each player may resolve one valley location of their choice using the village dice only, as if they'd sent a worker there. Huh. As if they'd sent a worker there. How would that work? Oh, I see. Would resolve one valley location of their choice using the village dice only. At the end of the month, though, we've already spent all of our dice. So does that mean we have to reserve a die? Probably. I wish it said each player may reserve one valley die to resolve a valley location of their, village die. Each player may reserve one village die to resolve one valley location of their choice, as if they sent a worker there. That would have made that clearer. But as it is, I might do that, I might not. May resolve. But more importantly, I can get 2 coins from the Blue Jay with a 1 or a 2, or I can get more stories. That doesn't suck. I don't have any coins, though. And I don't really want to go out of my way to get any right now. I want raw material because let's look at what we're building. We can build this pie pretty easy by just spending a die to go get some wheat because we have the apples. The wood would be nice. And we do need a coin, at least 1 coin, to build the board game. So I could get 2 coins from the Blue Jay with a 1 or a 2. So we're going to try that. We're going to try to get 2 coins from the Blue Jay with a 1 or a 2. We don't need stone right now. We do have 1 knowledge necessary to build a board game, so I'd be giving up my shot at getting knowledge from the Blue Jay. But that's okay. I can get knowledge later, hopefully. The rocking chair would be nice to get. So I think we'll put a worker down here to get that rocking chair. Oh, I already have a rocking chair. What am I talking about? The quilt. The quilt would be nice to have. But that means I'd have to get the pie built because I'd be at a board. Well, actually, when I'm done with this, I might actually have... I could probably build both the pie and the board game. Do I have enough resources for it? Yeah, I have mushrooms left over. That's pretty good. Need a worker then to do what? What do I want to do? Do I want to try to go after one of these things? I don't think I'm going to have the resources. I could just try to get more stone. It wouldn't hurt to have a spare stone. I could go to, wow, all of those require extra dice I don't want to spend. This is 1 die, 2 dice, 3 dice. So I'd have 3 dice left. 2 dice left. I want a low die here. I want a low 3 here. I want any die here. And any die there. So I don't have a purpose for a 5 or a 6 or even a 4 right now. So going after a total 10 or higher up here would not only, the gardener gives me a free food resource. So I could, if I go to the meadow, so if I go to the meadow here, I'd get a 4th resource for free. That doesn't suck. Let's give that a roll, see what happens. All right, so let's roll our dice. Oh, interesting. A 4, a 2, a 3, and a 1. Very similar rolls lately, I've noticed. I swear I'm shaking them up pretty good. All right, well, we are going to, does it say at any time? At the end of my turn. It was the end of my turn and I didn't do this. I'm going to do it. No, I won't do it now. I'll do it next turn. Do it at the end of this round. I need to cycle one of my daydreams because it's just not serving me. Okay, I need this 3 to go there. 10 or higher. So we'll go 4 and 6. We'll go there. We need a 1 or a 2 to go here. And these 2 dice don't matter. Everybody resourced? We're good. We have all the dice we need. We're resolved. Nice. Okay, so let's go up here. We'll go 2 wood, rather, for that exact 3, which was nice. Got that. I hit that right as I wanted to. 2 wood. And then here, I get, for 10 or higher, I told 10, so that's done. And I get a grain of fruit and a yarn, and because it is a meadow location, I get either another grain, another fruit, or a mushroom. Well, I think I'm just going to take that as a grain. Am I? I'm about to spend 2 fruit, and fruit is harder to get. So I might take it as it's harder to get now. No, I'll take it as I was right. I'm going to take it as a grain. Okay, that takes care of that. And now we get this die resolved here. Oh, that had to be, oh, that changes things. You know what we'll do? We will cycle this 4 here for, wait, hold on. This was up here. So here's how this was. Those 2 family dice were there. So I would just cycle the 1 down to here because it doesn't matter. That's okay. And then I would cycle this 4 here to still make the 10. So that was a legal move. That puts the 4 there, which is still legal. So I'm retconning my dice placement, but not the result. The result is exactly the same. I just I forgot that these have to be family dice, but I was able to make it work. So that's fine. So the 4 goes there. I get 2 more grain. And then the 2 here gives me 2 coins. So that comes off and I get 2 coins. That's not a pretty good deal. Thanks, Blue Jay. And then here, my 1, which doesn't matter, gives me 1 face-up card of my choosing. I'm taking the quilt. Okay, now let's do some crafting. First things first, the easy one is the pie. So we'll do the pie. 2 wheat and 2 apples. 2 grain, 2 apples. Gone. Okay, so now we're street legal here. What do I want to build? Well, these 2 are synergizing off each other. This one I already have something for, so let's get this done. It's worth 7, 8 actually, because I have toys. So we'll spend 2 mushrooms and a coin and a knowledge. And we'll build the board game. Very cool. Okay. I don't quite have enough wood to build the rocking chair. I don't have the knowledge to build the quilt, but I'm close on both. That makes me feel good. Okay. All right. Let's do some upkeep. This snowshoes goes away. These slide down. Yeah, I think that's right. No, that's not right. This would be here, and the card that was there goes here because I refill the spot that I opened because I didn't do it earlier like I should have. And this slides down here. Almanac goes away. Bye-bye, Almanac. Orchard. Pattern book is at risk if we don't buy it this round. You may store 1 knowledge on each of your clothing. And that's right. I don't have much clothing. I don't think I have any clothing. The quilt will technically be 1. I don't think it's worth it. Not at this stage. And what came out was the wildwood. The wildwood is making board game with fungus. Yeah, that tracks. Yeah, I know, right? So wildwood is fairly cheap, and it gives me more fungus. Not a bad thing either, because I think that's mostly a springtime thing. So it would be kind of nice to have a fungus farm. But I'm not going to worry about it for now. It's way up there. Right. Okay, so then we turn the wheel. And now we discard our seasons. Last month of summer is right here, is upon us already. Those are fairly complicated. I'll show them in a moment, but next, before I forget, the common J will fly away. Okay, covered it all, I think. Yeah. Now, the meadow says more wheat and yarn for 2 dice apiece. Less interested this round in that. Look at that. Total 11 or higher with 3 dice, but 3 wood and an apple, or 3 of a kind for 3 coin. That's absurd. That is a lot of wood, though. But that's half the dice right there. Crazy. Let's see who we got coming to visit us this round. We've got the Gray Wolf. Immediately, in turn order, each player may claim a face-up comfort from the Owl's Nest, then refill the Owl's Nest. Slide everything to the right of the empty slot. Wait, slide everything to the right of the empty slot, 1 slot left. Oh, I see. Okay. Yep. Okay. Well, we already have the rocking chair, so we don't care about that. I guess technically I could build multiple rocking chairs and the quilt would satisfy each. I'm sure there's a rule about that, but I'm not going to bother with it, I don't think. My favorite, which is the bookshelf, would be lovely, but I don't think... Hey, Netcut, can you do me a favor? Can you look at the rules? Can you visit any location multiple times if you put multiple of your markers there, or can you only visit one location with one of your workers? I think the answer is only one location per one of your workers, but I don't know. But the bookshelf is great because if I can visit the traveler twice, then I can convert 1 coin into 2 tokens, 2 lessons learned, and then, in fact, I'll show you. if I can visit this location, I can visit one time, convert a coin into 2 lessons learned, and then convert up to 2 of those same tokens into 2 knowledge. And while that's important, is I can get the knowledge necessary to build the bookshelf. And then every knowledge I gain for the rest of the game, I can dump onto the bookshelf for 3 points apiece. I have made obscene amounts of points in the past doing that, as NetGod can attest. Dankeschön, NetGod. Okay. So I'd love to be able to do that if I can. That's one possibility. As it stands, though, I don't see another way to get knowledge this round. So I could build the rocking chair in my inventory, but not the quilt. That's okay, though. The decision in front of us right now is which of these do I want to pull for future creation? I think I like the bookshelf. It's worth a lot on its own, even if I don't get any more knowledge on it. It's going to be a little bit more challenging to build, but I'm about to build both of my current cards. So it can be my longer-term project if necessary. And then, as the rules state, slide everything down and refill. Another rocking chair. Isn't that fun? Well, it's a good thing I have my projects for a while. So let's roll the old family bones. Let's see what we got. A 4 and a 5. Okay. Okay. Well, that bodes well for being able to total 11 or higher up here to get a bunch of wood. So maybe we chance that. Well, okay. What else do we need? Money. So, money. I guess I could try going to get a 6 here. And I can always just take the lesson learned if necessary. It's fine. We're definitely going to go visit him once if we can, I think. I don't know, though. I might not. I might move him with a bicycle. This is kind of a weird month, actually. Don't care about anything in the meadow this round. I don't care about getting cards right now. I don't even care about buying anything on the ladder at the moment. So I guess I could just go after stone. No, so I have to pick, I can only visit once. Thank you for the lookup. So, if nothing else, I would get a coin for going here. If that's the case, if I can only visit once, then I'm going to target the coin, and instead I'll go after a stone. I might even gamble and go after 2 stone. I need a 1 or a 2 to do that, but that's okay. For my last worker, though, what do I actually want to do? Well, I'm going to get 1 die committed here, 1 die committed here, and 3 dice committed here, and 1 die committed over there. So I could place it knowing I won't have any dice left and just get the what is word? Brain broken. The lesson learned token for later. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to do that. We'll just come over here to the to get 3 coins, see what happens. I don't think it's going to matter. For the benefit of YouTube, the rules state only one of your workers may be in each location, but workers for multiple players. Yeah, okay. Okay, got it. Perfect. So let's roll them bones. We'll see if we pull all of this off. Oh, we might have. We might have. Those are some high rolls. Okay. That's good, though. So we're going to take this 4, and we're going to put it here, I think. We're going to take this 1, and we're going to put it over there. And we are going to take this 4, and we're going to stick it over here on the field, I think. And that leaves 11 or higher with 3 dice. How does 16 sit with you? Pretty good. I like that. I like it a lot. Okay, so we'll start with the Gray Wolf. We'll just get a coin. Easy day. So that comes off, and we'll come up here. We'll just resolve the field. It doesn't matter what that is, as long as it's a family die. I get 2 grain. Okay. And then we have a 1, so we get 2 stone. So I'm just resolving this last action, which is 16, and I get 3 wood and an apple or a fruit. Great. Okay, so that leaves the 1 worker left that I can't resolve because I don't have dice, which gives me a lesson learned token, and he comes home. I don't mind that in this case because I actually like having a little bit of flexibility. I only wish that I could have taken advantage of this conversion from Grey Wolf a little bit more. But as it is, I'm actually fine with it. So, all right, we got a bunch of goods. We can now build the rocking chair. So we will craft the rocking chair. And down it comes. It requires 3 wood and a yarn? Yeah, and a yarn. Okay. Cool. Now our target will be to get this quilt done, but we don't have the knowledge. We do have the coin and we do have the yarn, but we don't have the knowledge, so we have to do that. We also need more knowledge for the bookshelf. So if we can target knowledge next round, that would be ideal. But that's doing pretty good. I mean, for the sake of what we have built for ourselves, we're looking all right. That's everything we've built so far. I'll pop in a little closer. Decided to zoom out. So that's doing all right. We've got board games and toys and pies and rocking chairs and soup. You know what? That's sounding like my ideal winter so far, to be honest. So that's looking pretty great. I like that. And we have a bicycle too, which we haven't even had to use yet, but it's really nice to have that peace of mind. Right, all right, so let's get to shucking here. Whoa, wait, it's the end of my turn and I keep forgetting, so I'm gonna do it right now before I forget. These bad boys. Not looking like I'm gonna get that Daydream done. So we're gonna discard the Daydreamer and draw a new one. What do we get? We got a Lone Wolf, which is funny because the Gray Wolf is currently visiting us. He's worth 4. Don't use for solo play. Right there on the card. Bye. Okay, moving on. Rockhound. Have at least 6 stone at once. Unlikely, but we've done our 1 trade for the round, so that's good enough. It's at least something to work towards if we wanted to. Okay, let's get reset here. Time for upkeep. Snowshoes gone. Shifting down. Candles. Interesting. Not really a huge value in doing that. Pattern book is now gone, sadly. Bye-bye. Everything shifts down. Tool shed is now in danger of disappearing if we do not pick it up. The last of the improvement cards for the whole game just came out. That's right. For the solo game, the last couple rounds, you actually bleed cards out and you don't replace them with any more. Super annoying. So, tool shed. $2, costs 2 wood. I happen to have 2 wood, but I'm saving it for my bookshelf at the moment. But it says when resolving a worker in the workshop, which is the ladder, treat your placed die as if it was a value of 6, which means I can buy any card I want at anytime without having to care what actual die I use. Pretty handy. But it's a little late game, to be honest, to go after that. So, I don't know. I think I might not. But what came out was the scale. Scale's up here. 2 stone and a wood, and it says when visiting the market, you may first make 1 trade of 1 of anything for 1 of anything, and then the usual rates apply. Wow. That's pretty good. A 1-to-1 trade for anything I want. That doesn't suck. But I got a while. It's not going to age off anytime soon. So, good to know. Okay, that's done. The wolf is gone. Bye-bye, wolf. We'll see who's coming up in a minute. But, first day of fall. Did we make a cozy enough game for ourselves? Look at that knowledge coming in clutch. Let's take a look. So this is the meadow. Total of 6 or lower, but it takes 3 dice. So I have to have like 1s and 2s only, essentially, to get there. Total of 6 or lower, but look at that. 2 knowledge, exactly what I need for my bookshelf, and exactly what I would need for my quilt too. So that doesn't suck. I have apples and I have plenty of grain, so I don't care about that other location. The other one that just came out over here in the woods, okay, decent. Don't really care about any of it, though, for this round. Oh, I forgot to turn the wheel, so I'll turn the wheel. Okay, and here we have the Wild Turkey. Wild Turkey says, after rolling family dice, each player may change 1 of their own family dice to any result they wish. Oh, plus, look at that, a 3rd knowledge by using a 1. The trouble with that is I also need 1s and 2s to go after this knowledge. Ooh, but he does say that I can change 1 of my family dice to whatever I want. And I can do a goods conversion, but I can't convert into knowledge. It's not an object I can convert it to. It's not considered a good. So I think I really want the 1 here, but I can kind of fudge things a little bit this game. I like that. This is a pretty good combo, actually. All right, so let's roll them family bones, see what we got. Oh, a 1 and a 3. Both are good for this situation. We want a 1 for down here. Do I want to change anything? I might as well turn the 3 into a 1. Is there any reason not to? What am I planning on doing? Anything else? I think I'm just going to convert this 3 into a 1. Why not? So now I just rolled 2 1s. Thank you, Wild Turkey. Okay, now we decide what we're going to do. We are going to definitely come to see the Wild Turkey. We're definitely going to try to get the 2 knowledge from the meadow. I think we are definitely going to try to get 2 stone. We do have 1 lesson learned ready to go. What else do I want to try to do? Well, I could do a goods conversion into a coin. Let's try that. I have 3 grain sitting here doing nothing. I can convert those into a coin. Yeah. I think I can. Yeah, I can. I can convert that into a coin. Yeah. Okay. Oh, why not? Let's give it a try. Let's see what happens. Ooh, those are some high dice. Yikes. Okay. Well, we need is 6. Let's put those over here. By the way, that was 2 6s, a 3, and a 2, and I have 2 1s as family dice. So we're going to put a 6 over here to get my 2 stone, I think. We need 3 dice totaling 6 or lower. So we will take the 3 and the 2 and the 1 to get exactly 6. And we'll take... Am I going to do that? Yeah. But it also means I can't go to the farm, I don't think. Is this any? Yeah, it's any number. I can't go to my field this round, which is kind of a bummer. But you know what? It is what it is. It's fine. We're going to take a 1, and we're going to go there, and I'm going to take a 6, and we're going to go there. You know what? I like that. I like that a lot. Right. So first things first, let's resolve the top one, which is here. I have exactly 6. And it's total 6 or lower with 3 dice, so I get 2 knowledge. Maybe, if I can manage to get them out of the tray. Okay, and then we're going to come here, and we're going to get our, I have a 6, and the 6 is one of the numbers I need here, so I get 2 stone. And then I'm going to go here, but before I do, I'll come down here. There we go. And then I'm going to spend this 1 die of any value to convert 3 goods into a coin. I'm going to convert 3 of my grain, so it leaves me with 1 grain left, and I will convert that into a coin. Okay, and now I'm going to go visit the wild turkey, and I'm going to spend my 1 to get another knowledge, so 3rd knowledge, and a face down card. So I'll draw that card, and I got another hearth. That's, I guess, okay. I just got 2 stone, so I guess I could go after that. That's all right. That's fine. We're fine. We're all good here. And that's actually a perfect place to stop and leave the camera right there, because we're about to craft, because we resolved all of our actions. So we have a quilt to make. So let's take a knowledge and a coin and a yarn, and we'll make a quilt, which now pairs with the rocking chair for 2 extra points. Great. That leaves us with a bookshelf, and we're going to build for 2 wood and 2 knowledge. We're going to build our bookshelf. Bookshelf built. Crushing it. That leaves us with the hearth we just drew, but that's all right. That was a very good round. Okay, and we didn't need to get another lesson learned or even spend a lesson learned. I'm happy with that. All right, back here. Now I believe this next round is the last round, because it is the last card in the stack of seasons. So, bye-bye, Mr. Wild Turkey. You were great. Rocking chair goes away. No problem. There's still 1 there. Scooch on down. Draw another one. We got a pantry. And that's storing goods, which I already passed on once this game. So bye-bye tool shed. That was a cool idea, but a little late in the game. So no new card comes out. We just leave it on empty, and it keeps on going. If we don't build the wheelbarrow this round, it will disappear. Yeah. Now, I could use the wheelbarrow for an extra worker in the valley, which are the 2 spaces, the wood and the meadow, but that came out really late, and I don't have the wood left because I built my bookshelf. So we might just have to let him go this round. That would have been, or this game, would have been nice, but it is what it is. Okay, so let's cycle our seasons, our last 2 cards, And then we will rotate the wheel. And in the meadow of this game, we have, or this month rather, we have knowledge, which we don't, I guess we technically do need because we could put it on our bookshelf. That would be handy. Okay. So we could go after that. We also have 2 wheat, which I have a better way of getting wheat. It's cheaper, so I don't care. Over here, pretty much the usual deal. Don't really care about either of those. I do need the wood, though. So I have 2 stone. I could get a wood. And if I get a wood, I could then immediately go to the workshop and build the scale. Scale will let me do a 1-to-1 goods conversion. Which would allow me possibly to get another stone or another wood. But that would make it even harder to build the hearth. And I don't know that I care. I might just top deck the deck and see if we get something better to build. Because I'm not really caring about the hearth. And I don't have the time to build anything else. So the pantry, on the other hand, if we look carefully, I have almost everything for it. Let's look at that. It's worth 5 points, and all I need is 1 wood. So I have everything else for it already. Just for the 5 points alone, I think we might go after a wood. But before I decide what we're doing, let's see who we're going to be visited by this last round. We're going to be visited by the striped skunk, who wants to give me more stories. Stories are good. I can put them on my bookshelf. All month long, after visiting the owl's nest, you may search through the discard pile and claim 1 comfort of your choice. This is in addition to comforts you gain normally through the visit. Yeah, I think I have a better plan right now. And I think we're going to go to the pantry. Most everything that got discarded I could care less about. But let's see what happens. Right. What are we going to do? Well, let's decide what we're going to do after we roll the family dice. A 1 and a 2. Lower dice, not always bad. But we know we need a 1 to go here to get that extra knowledge. Huh. Well, let's gamble on getting a 6 and getting some wood. What else do we want to do? Could gamble on getting a 5 too and get more knowledge. Yikes. That's sounding scary already. What do I want to do? I could do some goods conversion. But no, I need the apples. Well, we know we want to come down here for sure and draw a face up card from the pantry. And that would let us rifle through the discard deck because of the old skunkaroonie. So that leaves me with 1 more action. Let's go visit. We didn't spend I made that mistake earlier in the game. Let's go visit the skunk himself. We know we need to do that. Okay, let's roll the dice. Oh, I think I got lucky on that roll. 2 5s, a 6, and a 2. Well, that's great. Okay, so the 6 comes over there. The 5 goes over there. The 1 goes down here. The doesn't matter goes over here. The 2 can go to the field to get 2 of those. I think I've got 1 die left over. Not bad. I've got everything I need. That's cool. Okay, so let's start on the top. We'll get 2 wood, 1 wood and a fruit. And that. And then over here, we'll get a knowledge and 1 free food resource of my choosing because I'm a gardener. So I'll get my knowledge, which I will put immediately on the bookshelf. And the good that I will get a, we already have a wood, but it's not a wood anyway. She's a gardener. She lets me have, I'm lightest on mushrooms. So I'll get a mushroom just in case. I don't think it's going to matter, but. Right, and then here we will spend that, which is a 1, and I will get another knowledge, which I will put immediately on the bookshelf. And then lastly, we'll come down here and we'll pick up the pantry for this card there. Okay, so here's how it all shook out. We, down here, how do I want to do this? Well, first and foremost, let's come down here and take a look. So this is how we've shaken out here. We have our quilt, obviously, but we have our bookshelf, which we recently built, and the last 2 knowledge we just acquired, we placed there. And as a reminder on how that scores, 3 victory points for each book stored on the bookshelf. So that's 6 points worth of memories on the bookshelf. Yeah, okay. So let's get to building. We're going to craft this pantry. It takes a wood, a grain, I have wood left, a mushroom, and an apple. And the pantry is now built. I could technically store stuff on it, but it's the end of the game, and I don't think I'm going to have the ability. Oh, I forgot to resolve one of my dice. I forgot to resolve my family die up here in the field to give me 2 grain. So I will take that back and get my 2 grain. Do I have enough? I do. Oh, I do. Okay, well, because I got grain from there, I now have 1 set. I have a mushroom, a fruit, and a grain, which I will store on the pantry for 2 extra points. Sick. That was lucky. Okay. Great. And I had a die left over. I only ever got 1 house out, but that's all right. Okay, let me consult the rules and make sure that I'm following the end of the game correctly. But I'm nearly certain I did. We're moving into upkeep. Right, discard the top forest and meadow. So we did that, and now we have, oh dear, it's winter. Okay. Yeah. If there are no new ones to reveal, you will see that the first snowfall of winter has arrived and the game is over. Proceed to scoring immediately and skip the rest of upkeep. Going into scoring. Yeah. Scoring says, looking at scoring and solo scoring is exactly the same. Great, cool. All right, when the game ends, right, okay, here's how this is going to work. We'll come here and we're going to take all of this off the board and we're going to flip the board over and we're going to put our houses back. Cool. Yeah, okay. When the game ends, first, all players may freely craft any comforts in their hand. I don't have the resources to craft the comforts in my hand. Okay. Then all players tally up the score to see who built the most comfortable home for the long winter. Flip your home board over and use the score track to tally your points. Use any tokens from the game to score just as a score marker. Well, because it's a nice contrast, I will score with an apple. Yeah. Okay. 1 point. Okay. If you had any cottages remaining on your home board, replace them on the topmost. Yeah, did that. If exceed 50, lap around. Did that, or will do that, hopefully. Comfort cards. Yeah, each one shows a heart value. Many of them also describe some sort of bonus scoring. Yep. Okay, so let's just do score. Let's do cards first. Easy enough. I'm just going to do the raw value on each of the cards first. I'm going to discard the card that I had in my hand because that doesn't matter anymore because I didn't build it and I won't be able to. So I'm going to move my resources over and I'm going to scoot all of these cards up just to make my life easier on camera a little, hopefully. In fact, Gardener can go away now because our profession doesn't matter anymore. So we're going to scoot everything up. Pantry, we'll scoot pantry up to, okay. In fact, let's do these first because they take up a lot of room. So we get 2 points. We get 2 points for the bicycle. So it's out. 2 points, 1, 2. And then pantry is 5 points plus 1 set for a total of 7 points. So that's 9. So I'll take that set away. And the pantry can go away too. I'm not like discarding them for real. I still have them for reference if I need to. Lamp is 4 points plus 7 if you store exactly 2 knowledge, which I have done. So it is 11 points. That brings me to 20 points. Bookshelf, 6 points plus 2 for each story stored here. 3 points for each story stored here. So that's 12 points. 6 plus 6, 12 points. 32 points. Okay, now for these guys. This is everything else I built this game. Yeah, I like it. Soup is easy, 5 points straight off the top. So I was at 32, we are now at 37 points. Board game plus toys. We'll do board game plus toys first. 7, plus 1 for each other board game and toys you have. So 7, 8 points, plus 6 is 14 points. So 37 to 47 plus 4 is 51. Okay, that's done. Finally, we have rocking chair, which is 5 plus 2 if I have a quilt. I do. So it's 7 plus 7 is 14 points. So that is 51 to 14, 15. We'll go to 15. Yeah, 15. There we go. Okay, so that takes care of those two. And pie, good old pie for 4 points. We'll go to 19. That puts me at 69 points. Oh, wait, I lied. We also have a dream to resolve. We have one dream that was done for 5 points. We were a homebody. And so that puts us at 24, right, 74 points. So let's consult what the book says. Nope, 75 points. I lied because one of my houses is 1 point. 75 point. Great. Okay, so let's take a look at the book. Hey, opa, hello, Sade. Hey, thanks for the sub, Sade. Okay, so which comfort type did you craft the most of? Well, let's take a look. That is a good question. We got a little bit of everything. We got food, we got a clothing, we got another food, we got a fire. Okay, so I guess it was food. So therefore I am deliciously. How many comforts did you craft? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well-stocked, deliciously well-stocked. How many improvements did you build? Critter. So I only built 1. That's not true. I built a field as well, so that's 2. Creature. I'm a deliciously well-stocked creature. What was your final score? 75 of Maple Valley. I am a deliciously well-stocked creature of Maple Valley. And because I got 1 dream done, I add 1 exclamation point to the end of my title for each stash dream. So I have exclamation point at the end. Oh, you have this game? Oh, you should crack this game open. This game is wonderful. So I'm really happy that you had a chance to pop in and check it out. But this is a great game. This does not disappoint. The solo game, very strong, which I would not have suspected, frankly, having watched this, having played this game. This is one of those games that shines so very, very well at any player count that I've played it at. 3, I played it at 3, 2, and solo. And the solo is very good. The reason why is the way they scaled the solo, all of the improvement cards, here along the side on the ladder here, normally the deck has multiples of them in the deck because multiplayer people pick them up and you want to have more than one opportunity to get the improvements. But in the solo game, they intentionally have you strip out everything except for 1 of each, and then they fully remove some of the ones that give you some goods conversion flexibility because you don't really need that when you're only competing with yourself. So the game plays exactly the same as when you are playing multiplayer. There's no rules changes at all. It's just you and the game, and because it's a buy it or lose it on the improvements, you're really having to pay a hard attention to that. You're not going to have any more chances to get after those. And so it's important to actually be like, what am I looking at? What am I trying to get done? And the extra dreams, the dreams mini expansion, I've always really enjoyed that. I almost never do them. I think mainly because it just happens to be what doesn't come out for me at the time. And the combination between, but I still love having, by the way, I still love having the dreams out there because once in a while something really clicks and you can pull that off and get a few extra points. It feels really good. I really, really love the asymmetric player powers. The gardener was who I played this time, but they're, like I mentioned at the top of the game, they're double-sided. So when you shuffle them, you can just randomly flip certain cards when you're not looking at them, and you get a whole different draft every single game. There's a fair number of those too for the for the player count. So there's a pretty good blend of asymmetric player powers, and they're all really good. And then, of course, the shuffling of the villagers and when they come out, and how they intermix or don't intermix with what comes out in the season for that month. The game plays so differently every single time you play it. I just happened to get a couple of really strong breaks. Like there was good synergy between the villager and what was out for that month, and between what I was trying to build and what I had in my hand. I just got really lucky this round, this play rather, with exactly what came out when. But I love this game. I love playing this game. You should absolutely play this game solo. Play it multiplayer too, because it's a great game at multiplayer. It sets up fast once you get used to it. You're just shuffling a couple decks of cards, and the board is that, and literally the entire player board is this thing. That's it. That's the whole player board. You give people here's the colors. I mean, I literally have everybody's stuff in player color bags. You just hand them that. They open the bag, and you draw cards, and you get playing. You can get this game started. You can get this game set up and started. And I think both set up and started in less than 10 minutes, probably less than 5, because of this. There's no setup. You just take the lid off and you're done. So I can't sing the praises of Creature Comforts enough. I have Maple Valley, which I'll probably play in the spring, because you're prepping for a festival, I believe. If I remember correctly, I can't remember exactly what you're doing in Maple Valley, but I believe that's the story. And so this was preparing for winter, so it seemed very timely to get all your cozy stuff together in time for winter. But I mean, as it was, what did we play? What did we get? Pies and quilts and soups and lamps and pantries and bookshelves and toys and board games and rocking chairs. And like, come on, what's not to love about creature comforts? So I love a good cozy game for a cozy season, as you said, Shade. So I hope you really enjoyed watching this one. I've really enjoyed playing it. Next week will be a new game, fresh off the truck, as I like to say, by a very notable designer, a game designer, someone very, very popular, very well regarded. They don't put out too many games very often. I'm looking at the game right now. And so when a new one comes around, you must back it, as Devo is kind of saying. So anyway, tune in next week for a game that will be, I think in many ways, very different. But that's all I have for this week. Thank you again for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you again next week. Take care, everybody.